Welcome, everyone. We are here today to celebrate the 99th anniversary of Meher Baba's silence through readings, poems, music, reflections, quotes. This gathering will be part of a larger program which will be shown July 10 on Baba Zoom. And Diana and I are your hosts today. And Diana will be looking for raised hands and she will call on those folks. So I would like to start us off with a quote from St. Teresa of Avila. You need not go to heaven to see God, nor need you speak loud as if God were far away, nor need you cry for wings like a dove to fly to him. Only be in silence and you will come upon God within yourself. Jai Baba. And now Diana has a quote to share.
Jai Baba, that was a beauty, Eva. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I have actually a few things to share, but one thing I want to read right now. And this is something I came across in Letters from the Mandali of Avatar Meher Baba, Volume 2. And it's just the last paragraph of a short letter written by Mani, and it's dated the 29th of May, 1980, written from Ahmednagar. And she says, if in conversation with some of your friends, you find that speaking of Baba's silence provides you with an opportunity to tell them about Baba and his life and message of love and truth, then that is fine. But again, to place a greater emphasis on Baba's silence would detract from its purpose, which is to draw us closer to him.
That was beautiful, Diana.
I liked it a lot. And Eva and I thought it would be nice to start our gathering today with offerings of quotations. And we're just looking for hands to be raised. And I see a couple already. And as you listen, please also feel free to raise your hand and I'll be calling on you. And we are going to start with Michal. Yes, Michal.
Yeah, so coming towards Baba's Silence Day, I opened up Lord Meher, page 600 and 601, where he started his silence. So Meher Baba came out of his jopti, that is on 10 July 1925. Meher Baba came out of his jopti. Please, everyone, mute. Masha is not muted and others are not muted and it's disturbing. I'll start again. Meher Baba came out of his jopti, as usual, at 5 o'clock in the morning of Friday, 10 July 1925. After a bath, he went to the Mandali's quarters. Everyone thought that Baba would not make his usual inquiries. But to their surprise, the master questioned the Mandali, the teachers, and the children about their health, their sleep, and the food for the day, doing so in writing. Thus, from that day onward, in spite of his silence, Meher Baba was found to be quite alert and mindful of all matters. Baba's nature was so outgoing and voluble that he had often spontaneously broken out into song or poetry. Hence, many of the Mandali doubted that Baba would be able to keep silence for a full year. But as the days passed, they were greatly impressed to observe that the master never once spoke, but remained silent in all circumstances, showing that he was in perfect control of himself. Although he would still participate in the bhajan programs, Baba's beautiful voice was no longer heard. Yet his hands would play a drum or finger cymbals as accompaniment to the singers. Meher Baba had observed silence 4 times before, but the silence of 10th of July 1925 was to last until the end. Baba never uttered another word for the rest of his life. Baba communicated in later years. I am never silent. I speak eternally. The voice that is heard deep within the soul is my voice, the voice of inspiration, of intuition, of guidance. Meher Baba.
Jai Baba, what a beauty, Michal. Thank you for sharing that. I believe it's Rosalie and or Jonathan. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Just take me a second. This is a quotation from the Meher Baba journals. They were written in the early 1940s, where Baba had shared discourses beginning with Avatar, where when he was talking about this being the springtide of creation, he mentioned that we were in a transition now from the age of intuition, the perfection of intuition, by introducing entering the age of intuition. And in those were articles by Narina that were thought transmissions by Baba. And this is one that was published in September of 1940 with the title Mystical Life. And the quote begins, "Remember that I have come not to teach, but to awaken. What is the meaning of this? It means exactly this, what is so individually important, and that is to self-realize in this mind which is finite, the divine state of non-reaction, and that is mental calm. Unessential and unnecessary is the act of self-realizing when I am in the human body. That is to say, no one needs to go any further in his own individual effort to self-conscious realize the divine existence within. No one needs to make further studies about the mind and its reactions. Psychology is of no more use. It is no more of use to take up the subject of creation and its dual finite order of making life a trial, a quest. The demon that is in men is the dual order in thought, creating continuous reaction." Jai Baba.
Jai Baba, that was a beauty, Jonathan. Are you saying that appeared in the very first Meher Baba journal?
No, Baba, the first discourse, Avatar, was in the first journal. This is volume 2, number 11.
Wow, I'm writing that down.
It's the second mystical life message.
Could you repeat that, Jonathan? Diana, do you think that's
Oh,
okay?
yes, I'd love to.
Could you repeat it,
Let's
Jonathan?
hear it all again.
Remember that I have come not to teach, but to awaken. What is the meaning of this? It means exactly this, what is so individually important, and that is to self-realize in this mind, which is finite, the divine state of non-reaction, and that is mental calm. Unessential and unnecessary is the act of self-realizing when I am in the human body. That is to say, no one needs to go any further in his own individual effort to self-conscious realize the divine existence within. No one needs to make further studies about the mind and its reactions. Psychology is of no more use. It is no more of use to take up the subject of creation and its dual finite order of making life a trial, a quest. The demon that is in men is the dual order in thought, creating continuous reaction. Hey, Baba.
Amazingly beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. Very thought-provoking. Wow.
Should I go now or?
Yes, absolutely. I was just wondering that.
Yeah, I'm going now. I was given this blue bus, not in 1938, but
Show us again. Oh, look.
sometime, and by a Baba lover. And it was green, but she painted it blue. See, it used to be green. And it kind of looks like young Baba back there, and a whole crowd of people inside. Bursting out of the bus. I love that came to me, and then I didn't even know about the mystical messages, but I was very into that book, Narina's Gift. It's in that book because I think Baba, is especially doing work, obviously, in the United States when he says that we would LEAD, lead the world spiritually, but first we will have to be awakened. And I would use a little playfulness and say, first we have to get the lead out. Lead, lead. We have to get the lead out. And anyway, back when I was so into this, so into these readings, her diary, there was in her diary this one, I hate to call it a transmission, Baba speaking, and it said, rest in me, be selflessly detached when you are consciously experiencing unqualified confidence in my divinity. Be sure I have come to this world to achieve the new wonder of spiritual resurrection. I put into you the desire to use your intellect to serve me. That service will initiate in you and in the world a new rhythm of pure and selfless love. I am here real and dynamically active in your higher self. I am the self immutable in all creatures. Now, this was in her diary, but after he sent her back, after he spoke through her, well, first when she met him in 1931, she fell at his feet crying and crying. And she wrote him a letter immediately and say, are you that voice I hear? Are you the voice? And he wrote her back, yes, it is my voice. Do not use it now. Not now. That was 1931. So a lot of years pass, and then the blue bus time. When Baba wanted Narina and Elizabeth to publish this Mayor Baba journal. And they said, Baba, but no one's going to read it if you don't put something in there. And so the first discourse is what Jonathan gave. Avatar was the first discourse. So really, kind of in a way, the discourses got their kickstart from Narina speaking.
Thank you very much, Rosalie.
wanted to give one. I wanted to give one from the Blue Bus time, though. In one of these speakings, when he spoke to her, he said he did speak to her. He would sign off on the talks as she received them. He would sign off. This one just rang the bell. It says, "This mystical language in I is in I, the experience of God." Experience of God. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Thank you. Look, we have Marilyn now. Jai Baba, Marilyn.
Hi, Jai Baba. Glad you decided to do something like this. I hope more people eventually join. I wanted to read Avatar of the Age. Meher Baba Manifesting by Balkal Chori. This is called The Sound in His Silence. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Real silence exists in the state of nirvikalp samadhi. That was a tongue twister. I don't know why. Real silence exists in the state of, nirvikalp samadhi, and this real silence is the goal. Real silence exists in the divine consciousness of the avatar, so he is the goal. His infinite consciousness is real silence. To take individuals toward the goal of real silence is the duty of the avatar. It is his universal work to turn human consciousness toward the goal. To achieve this, the avatar observed apparent silence to make this noisy world lose the force of its noise. The avatar's apparent silence will be a profound example to the noisy world. When the world is free from all this noise, freed from its excessive attachment to materialism, mankind will realize the significance of the avatar's silence and the futility of materialism. It is the attachment to materialism that has made the world so noisy. When this attachment is broken, human consciousness becomes inclined to turn toward the goal, real silence. Real silence is the state of complete desirelessness. Real silence is achieved when not a single sanskaric impression remains attached to the human mind. The mind is what prevents the experience of real silence. One can observe silence by restraining his speech, but how will he restrain his mind? The mind is filled with sanskaras, and these sanskaras make the mind think. The mind works by thinking, and thinking is the result of sanskaras. So long as one's mind has sanskaras, one cannot stop thinking. The human mind has so many thoughts, so many desires, so many temptations. Thus, every individual behaves in accordance with his own sanskaric impressions. Restraining one's speech will not succeed in silencing the mind. Silence ultimately means the complete stopping of mental movement. Thinking itself must be stopped. When the mind has thoughts, these thoughts constitute the movement of the mind, even if the physical body does not move. The root cause of all movement is the movement of sanskaras in the mind. It is the movement of sanskaras that cause thinking. In the end, when the sanskaras are wiped out, real silence is achieved because the limited mind is finally annihilated, stopped. excuse me, Mayor Baba's apparent silence has the movement of his yoga sanskars at work. Therefore, his apparent silence was speaking, though he appeared to be silent. He was working through his silence. Mayor Baba's apparent silence was the medium of his work on earth to make the world tired of noise by making mankind fed up with its attachment to materialism. As the world becomes increasingly tired of its self-created noise and mankind's materialistic tendencies weaken, human consciousness will be prepared to hear the real sound of the avatar's infinite silence. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
That was awesome, Marilyn. Jai Baba, thank you.
Hey, Baba.
Now we have Eva. Yes, Eva.
Marilyn, that was so very thought-provoking, very, very interesting. Thank you for that. I have some quotes on silence. This one is by Thomas Merton. Let me rest in your will and be silent. Then the light of your joy will warm my life. Its fire will burn in my heart and shine for your glory. This is what I live for. Amen. Amen. One by Mother Teresa. Silence of the heart is necessary so you can hear God everywhere, in the closing of the door, in the person who needs you, in the birds that sing, in the flowers, in the animals. And another one by Thomas Merton. It is in deep solitude and silence that I find the gentleness with which I can truly love my brother and sister. One by Thomas Keating. Silence is God's first language. Everything else is a poor translation. In order to hear that language, we must learn to be still and to rest in God. Samuel Beckett quote. Don't look for meaning in the words. Listen to the silences. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. That was like a necklace strung with these beautiful creations. So it's just so decorative. It's beautiful. Thank you so much, Eva.
Quote
Yeah.
pearls around my neck.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank
Can we
you.
hear them again? Can we, if not now, later, can we hear those again?
But what how about now? Would you that's fine with
Sure,
me if it's okay
sure.
for others.
Of course. I hope I remember the ones I read. Samuel Beckett. Don't look for meaning in the words. Listen to the silences. Oh, Meister Eckhart. Nothing is so like God as silence. Thomas Keating. Silence is God's first language. Everything else is a poor translation. In order to hear that language, we must learn to be still and to rest in God. Thomas Merton. It is in deep solitude and silence that I find the gentleness with which I can truly love my brother and sister. Mother Teresa. Silence of the heart is necessary so you can hear God everywhere, in the closing of the door, in the person who needs you, in the birds that sing, in the flowers, in the animals. And Thomas Merton. Let me rest in your will and be silent. Then the light of your joy will warm my heart. Its fire will burn in my heart and shine for your glory. This is what I live for. Amen. Amen. Jai Baba, thank you all for listening again.
Lovely. And you too, Eva. Now we have Michal.
Yeah, thank you, Eva. That was beautiful. Only I'm thinking, Baba's book is God Speaks. He took silence in order to speak in our hearts. And my experience with Baba is that he's never silent. From the very beginning of my being with him, he was speaking. So within my heart. So he was showing that he is alive and speaking. And the joke of this book, because he gave that name, God Speaks. He does speak. So this is a song by Baoji, Ocean Calm, and music by Jim Meyer. And I do see this ocean as a very quiet, peaceful ocean. So it does give me the feeling of peace that Baba's silence does give while he's talking sweetly in the heart. But you can tell it's Baba because he has this very special, sweet and loving way of speaking within. Over the town, Mel Baba Kiche. And your Baoji. O Meher Atayam Hashalva Akol Matsui Vekaf Yadcha Atayeshu Ataram Baba O Meher Atayam Hashalva O Meher, you're the ocean calm. Everything is in your palm. You are Jesus, you are Baba. O Meher, you're the ocean calm. Achen Elohim, Gadol Ata. בנדרושך עולמנו זה, אתה ישועתה רם בבא, ומהר, אתה ים השלווה. You are really mighty God, world is moving through your law. You are Jesus, you are Oh, Baba, oh, Meher, you're the ocean calm. הזמר גם הזמר אתה, לב המאזינים נחשף לך, אתה בודה, אתה שם, Oh, Baba, oh, Meher, Atayam Hashalva. You are the singer and the song. Listening now, you let us long. You are Buddha, you are Sham, our Baba. Oh, Meher, you're the ocean calm. הקפצן גם במלאכתה, שיר נצחי נשיר לך, קדמון מכל עליו, בבא. או מהר, אתה ים השלווה. You are the beggar and the king, song eternal, let us sing. You are Allah, ancient one, Baba. Oh, Meher, you're the ocean calm. Achen Elohim gadol ata, oh, Meher, אתה ים השלווה, אתה בודה, אתה רם, אתה ישוע, אתה שם, הקדמון מכל עליו, או מהר, אתה ים השלווה, הכל מצוי בכף ידך, עומק עומק, אתה ים השלווה, עומק, beloved, you're the ocean calm. Thank you, Baba. Thank you, Babaji.
Definitely, thank you. That was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Michal.
Your song, Mikal, is the vehicle that takes us to that ocean. Just beautiful. I can feel it.
Yeah, Babaji's song, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't
And
see,
Jim Meyer music.
yeah. I don't see any other raised hands, and so that doesn't mean we're the end of quotations, but I had found 5 select, oh, but I do see a raised hand. No, not now? Okay, later.
You haven't gone yet, Diana, so I'll go after.
No, you go, because I was gonna show some quotations from the anthology that I was gonna ask people to read, but oh, a whole bouquet of raised hands. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm calling on you, Eva. That's your
Don't be so quick. Don't be so quick.
Okay. This is why Meher Baba observed silence. We would often question Meher Baba about his long silence, asking him when he intended to break it. And one day in 1954, in answer, he just dropped his alphabet board and said, "From now on, I will not use the board." We thought that this was a hint that he might be about to break his silence. But the days passed without incident, except that he then started to communicate by using finger gestures. All he would say, referring to his silence, was, "What a binding it is." But it was a binding with a purpose, for our sake. However, one lasting benefit which developed out of this came one day when he asked us this question: why do people shout at one another when they are angry? We said, they shout because they are angry and they want to express their anger. And Baba responded, yes, they can express their anger that way. But even if someone is seated at their side, they will shout at that person. Could they not speak softly? We volunteered different explanations, saying different things which came to mind at the time, but our answers did not satisfy Baba, so he gave us an answer. When a person is angry with another person, he said, that person is far removed from his heart, and distance is created between them. That's why the physical reaction is to shout, and the greater the distance, the greater the shouting. Love disappears, and one goes on shouting at the other, who in turn barks back at him. Then he barks, and so it goes on and on. But Baba did not stop there, as he doubtlessly wanted us to see the same thing from a different angle. So he continued. Now take the other case of two people in love. When two individuals are in love with each other, how do they speak? They speak softly, we answered. Yes, Baba agreed. They do speak softly, and the greater the love between them, the softer is their tone of speech. And when they are still further in love, no words are needed, and they just look at each other. And eventually, there is not even the need to look, no need at all. Well, that is the reason why Meher Baba observed silence. There was no need for an exchange of words. It was very good to hear that, to be reminded that he was so very close to us. As he has said, I am closer to you than your very breath. Whether the world accepted his closeness or not was immaterial to him, for whom there was no need to speak. And it was so true that whenever people came in contact with him, although there was an exchange of signs or words through interpretations, Meher Baba always spoke directly to the hearts of people. There is no doubt at all about that. He simply reached deep into their hearts. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Thank you, Eva. Another. Oh, now we have Rosalie. Jai Baba, Rosalie. Please unmute, Rosalie.
We need to have a good laugh in the manifestation every day. I wanted to add this further because it's an open window. We're celebrating his silence. And of course, the open window is what he talks through, right? This is so good. This was in Ranchi in India during the wonderful blue bus time where there were all these women squeezed together on this little bus. If you've ever seen it, the little bus that Baba said, this little bus is the same as the chariot of Krishna. And after my manifestation, it will be worshipped. This is what came through in its mystical life 1. And in Ranchi, a lot came through in Ranchi. Meher Baba explains that this series of articles, all in the archives, all online, has been dictated by direct communication in intuition. It is for reason of saving time and for more executive reaction that he avoids to speak the normal external way of transmission through the intellect and thus the alphabetic board. While he is still maintaining silence, the mental act to hear in intuition is pure and real selfless service when it is in use of him direct. And I wanted to add a little bit from one of these messages, and this one is from utilize the divine in you, like use God. And it's this quote because Mikhail had said that you can, that sounds like Baba. See if this is Baba speaking. I rejoice in doing whatever I do. I rejoice in doing good. I rejoice in doing comfort. I rejoice in making war. I rejoice in making pain. To rejoice unselfish is to realize unself-conscious in I as the individual that has to be conscious, the truth that is use of me. And I will say, Kitty Davy was asked what it was like in the blue bus time. I mean, you know, Baba talking to Narina, and she says, we were complaining. Baba, you know, it's not her first language. You know, she's using the words funny. And Barbara says, don't change one word. Now they're already in publication, so I might add that. This is for the future. They will need it. And I will say, just for myself personally, when there's war all over and total upheaval, I want to hear it straight. You know, I want to hear it straight. That's
Thank
the
you.
language. Jay Bob.
Jay Baba, thank you. Betty, I'm sorry I skipped you. Let's hear from you now.
Okay, that's okay. I'll read a little bit from Baba. If you were to ask me why I do not speak, I would say I am not silent, and that I speak more eloquently through gestures and the alphabet board. If you were to ask me why I do not talk, I would say mostly for 3 reasons. Firstly, I feel that through you all, I am talking eternally. Secondly, to relieve the boredom of talking incessantly through your forms, I keep silence in my personal physical form. And thirdly, because all talk in itself is idle talk. Lectures, messages, statements, discourses of any kind, spiritual or otherwise, imparted through utterances or writings, is just idle talk when not acted upon or lived up to. If you were to ask when I will break my silence, I would say when I feel like uttering the only real word that was spoken in the beginningless beginning, as that word alone is worth uttering. The time for the breaking of my outward silence to utter that word is very near. Okay, Baba.
Thank you, Betty. That was beautiful. It's interesting. I had found that as well. And that was delivered on and it was something I was going to show later on September 12th, 1954. So that was actually on the second day of the 3 incredible weeks. And it was part of Baba's, I think, first message. Was that his first message? Maybe it was his first message that he gave out during the 3 incredible weeks. So that was lovely. So good to hear. Very nice. Okay, Jay Baba. And now we have Marilyn.
Yes, thank you, Jay Baba. That was wonderful, Betty. I wanted to read something from the book The Silent Master. It was written by Erwin Locke, and he put this together. And I was looking in the back here. It says here's a postscript, the story of this book. This book, The Silent Master, Meher Baba, was sent to Meher Baba 1.5 years before he left his physical body on January 31st, 1969. It reached his hand on July 10, 1967, the 42nd anniversary of the day Baba began his silence. The book was put together spontaneously as a summary of many of the most significant events and statements of his life on earth. The original and only copy was sent to Baba with this note. Dear Baba, Lord of Hearts, here is your book. Because it is made of nothing but you, your love, your compassion, your eternal truth, I bow to you and all that you are, my dear Lord of Hearts. Signed, Erwin. And then in reply, Meher Baba had this cable sent to Erwin. I am deeply touched to receive your heart's love on the platter of your book. It is beautifully done and speaks volumes of your labor of love to please me. I am pleased and proud and happy. My love to you, Meher Baba, Meherzad, July 11, 1967. And let's see. I'll go back to the reading now. This is messages of Meher Baba on his silence. And then there was also something I wanted to show you all. It's a beautiful picture of Baba. And this one particularly is in the lagoon cabin. And I'll read the quotes to you first that are above and below the picture. I have come down to your level, and if on that level you love me with all your heart in it, you will come to my real level of highest, because I am in you all. And the one on the bottom reads, although I am present everywhere eternally in my formless, infinite state, from time to time I take form, and the taking of the form and leaving it is termed my physical birth and death. And that's the picture, which is hanging actually in the lagoon cabin at this. I love this picture. It's beautiful, Baba. And go to the messages of Meher Baba on his silence. When I speak, it will be only one divine word. This word will have to be hearkened by the heart and not merely by the mind. It will go home to you and bring you the awakening. I am not limited by this form. I use it like a garment to make myself visible to you, and I communicate with you. Don't try to understand me. My depth is unfathomable. Just love me. I eternally enjoy the Christ state of consciousness, and when I speak, I shall manifest my true self. Besides giving a general push to the whole world, I shall lead all those who come to me toward light and truth. I intend, when I speak, to reveal the one supreme self which is in all. This accomplished, the idea of the self as a limited, separate entity will disappear, and with it will vanish self-interest. Cooperation will replace competition. Certainty will replace fear. Generosity will replace greed. Exploitation will disappear. The benefits that shall accrue to nations and countries when I bring about the spiritual upheaval will be largely determined by the amount of energy each possesses. The greater the energy, however misapplied, the greater the response. When I break my silence, the greatest miracle of all times will happen. Be worthy to receive the divine grace. And one last one. The moment I perform my silence and utter the original word, the first and last miracle of Baba in this life will be performed. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Che. Thank you, Baba. Thank you all for listening. And I
Thank you.
hope we all have a very wonderful Silence Day. And I'm sure that Diana and Eva's presentation of these recordings will make it so. Thank you, Baba.
Thank you, Marilyn, for those really special readings. Betty. Say Baba, Betty.
I wanted to share a bit about silence. Before Baba, I was part of Young Quakers in Palo Alto, California, and we were the youth group, so we were not silent. we were fun-loving and noisy. We did folk dancing, and we went on work parties on a local ranch, and we did anti-war protesting. We were not silent, but the grown-ups had a silent meeting on Sunday morning. And we'd go once in a while when we could manage to be quiet for an hour. And I remember it was just interesting to go into this meeting where, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 people were sitting silently and rustling a little bit and kind of getting settled and just sitting for an hour. And the if you had something to say, you would just simply stand up, and often it was a quote or a poem or some it was whatever people were personally moved to share, they did. So that was my first experience of silence, and even at that age, I got it. I got how profound that was. It was special. Um, so that's one share, and then I'd like to introduce to the I'll wait for later, but the share Silence Day experiences. I'd like to share some, and I'd like to hear some. My silence days were mostly at work, and those were often humorous, sometimes difficult, but it was definitely a part of. It was a way to bring Baba into life, whether if you were brave enough. Otherwise, you would just stay home. So anyway, I'll leave it at that and come back and share later.
Yes, thank you, Betty. And we definitely want to share our experiences. And how about, I know that Marcia wanted to share something, and then maybe a reading and her beautiful painting. And then maybe we can move on and start sharing some of our Silence Day experiences, because I know that there are going to be some that are quite special to hear, and I'd love to hear yours, Betty. Marcia, are you ready?
Hi, well, I don't know if the picture's right because I had to take the camera down. Anyway, I'm going to be reading from 82 Family Letters, Mayor Baba, written by Mani. And today I just pulled this book off the shelf and I
Yeah.
opened it, and this is the reading. It's on page 225. We will have unpacked and settled down in the old Mirazad routine just in time to meet another 10th of July, the 40th anniversary of his silence. Baba wishes for all his lovers everywhere who will observe the day are being sent out in a circular issued from Ahmednagar office by Adi. I reproduce it here for the attention of you, each of his Western family. On the 10th of July, 1965, the 40th anniversary of his silence, Avatar Mayor Baba wishes all who love and obey him, and all who would want to do so, to observe complete silence for 24 hours beginning from midnight of the 9th of July to midnight of the 10th of July in accordance with the local time. Thank you for practical reasons. For those who for practical reasons, find that it is not possible to observe silence for the 24 hours on Saturday, the 10th of July, 1965, should instead observe complete fast for 12 hours on that day from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. During this fast, nothing must be consumed, not even water. Those who are fasting for the 12 hours on July 10th should also observe partial fast in the morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. by taking only 1 cup of tea or coffee before beginning their complete fast at 8 o'clock a.m. Baba sends his love blessing for each one of his lovers for the Silence Day. To wrap up this letter carrying Baba's love to you, there can be no material more substantial or beautiful than his message given to his lovers on May 3rd, 1965. This time of your being with me, I do not intend giving you a lot of words to exercise your minds. I want your minds to sleep so that your hearts may awaken to my love. You have had enough of words. I have enough of words. It is not through words that I give what I have to give. In the silence of your perfect surrender, my love, which is always silent, can flow to you, to be yours always to keep and to share with those who seek me. When the word of my love breaks out of its silence and speaks in your hearts, telling you who I really am, you will know that this is the real word that you have been always longing to hear. Ever lovingly, Mani. And then I opened up another page, and there was a similar message, because we're thinking, well, is that message about fasting for the time or for everyone? And then it was a similar message, but I lost it now. I don't know what happened. Anyway, Jai Baba.
Sure, Baba, and thank you for sharing that. I want you to speak again so the recording will know that we're looking at your beautiful painting. So could you just speak something, Marcia, and tell us a little bit about this painting you're showing us?
Okay, let me, 1 minute. Give me 1 minute.
It's perfect, don't move it. Oops, start talking again, please.
Okay, this is the most recent painting that I've been working on, and I began it in May before I left Myrtle Beach. And when the solstice happened, I picked it up and started painting on it again. And I decided to add all these little heads that I had cut out of Baba, and I had them clipped together for maybe 5 years, and I found them. So I made a Baba tree, and I'm not quite done with it because I've been drawing, I don't know where I have everything. I've been drawing some pictures of Mira and Baba that I'm going to put here. So this is kind of finished for now. But then I was going to show you, if you want to see a couple things that I've worked on that I haven't shown to anyone before. And they're just kind of like, this was the most recent picture. This was from this picture of the women Mandalay. So I had to, before I started work, I make a lot of sketches, and I'm still not finished with this because it's messed up to me, you know, but it's a work in progress. And so I'm just gonna, and this doesn't really relate to talking about Baba's silence. So I don't know if I want to continue doing this, but I'll show you one more picture that I painted that I really like. This is Baba when he was a child, a young boy, and I used this photo here. And I just fell in love with this photograph. I think it's so beautiful, Baba. Yeah. So I put him up in the sky because, you know, it's
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Marcia.
okay. Great.
We can share
Thanks.
more later.
Sure, I'm good.
So, Betty, thank you for that share from from your early experience of silence. And why don't we change the focus now to sharing some of our Silence Day experiences? And if people want to add more quotations later, of course they can, but I think it would be a real nice change now. And I see Michal already put her hand up, and then I hope, Betty, you'll share some more that you have for us. Yes, Michal.
Thank you, Betty, for coming up with this idea. Yeah, Baba always wanted me to be out in the world when Silence Day. And it is fun because it's fun being at home also, because when you're at home, it's so impossible to keep silence the whole day. We always miss something, but missing something is also being in Baba's humor, because he always finds a way to make you laugh at these slips that you make and how you make them, and to understand how his silence, his godly silence, is just, you know, impossible, and what he went through. So it's sharing in his silence, but sharing in his humor too. So, so what I find out is I go in silence, you know, and I'm not trying to poke anyone because I'm keeping silence. I go out in the world, but Baba brings these occasions, you know, that I do have to interact, even though I'm not looking for that. So what I find out is when I always take a pad and a paper, I mean a pad and a pencil, so I can write the messages. So I write, and then people start whispering back to me. really think about it. Baba is spreading his silence. So, if they thought that I was not hearing, they would scream, they would shout. No, they would not whisper. But he gets them into the silence mood. So they whisper back to me. or because I'm writing, they write back to me. They don't have to write back. They're not in silence. Yeah, now that I'm talking about it, I think, Baba is just making them catch on to his silence too. And that's why they react in writing or in whispering rather than talking loudly as if I'm not hearing or answering regularly. Because if I'd be at work, sometimes I'm not at work, I'm just, out in the world. But if I'd be at work and I'd say a day before that I'm going to be silent, so, so they'd be ready for that. Or if I was in the kindergarten, that was when I was not in the kindergarten, when they used to write back to me. But if I was in the kindergarten, so all the kids and all the parents would know that I'm in Silence Day, because that would be written on the board of the parents. Actually, they all knew about Baba's birthday, Mara's birthday. And the kids would sing the Baba's birthday songs for Baba. And so on Silence Day, I would be around, but I would get more staff to be there so they could talk to the children. So it was fun. It's always fun. It's really a fun day. Whether you keep at home, you don't have the daring to go out into the world, or whether you go out into the world, Baba makes you laugh. So I do advise everyone to go through this experience and see, one is how immense the silence of Baba was, and also how much fun Baba has with us when we are in silence. So I also want to share a painting that I just finished of Baba. So I'll just put the background, because I think, one moment.
Okay, I'll spotlight you so that we can.
Yeah, okay.
So
Oh, wow.
This is Baba dancing.
That's a beauty.
So he's
Like
dancing.
a whirling dervish.
Oh, wait. What
Right, look
happened?
at hair. Wow.
Well, he's dancing, so the hair is
Joy.
flying all over.
Joy.
I don't know why I'm so close to the screen, but my screen is keeping is dancing too. I don't know why it does.
Beautiful. Oh, I love you. Call it darling. Oh, is it dancing Baba or darling Baba?
Yeah, dancing Baba.
Beautiful.
It-
beautiful.
Yeah, dancing Baba.
Wow.
And you see the screen is dancing too. I'm not moving it. It's moving itself.
His hair is being whipped out.
Oh, what
Yeah.
energy. Energy in that painting.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
captured the joy, Mikal. It's so joyful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, but he really helps with that. It's not all mine. It's also his, touches and,
Beautiful.
thank you.
But thank you for sharing all of that, Michal.
Looks a
So,
lot more like Baba than it does Omar Sharif, I should say.
So Betty,
Or Jane Kelly, or Fred Astaire.
Well, he was a great dancer. When he danced with Margaret, she
Yeah.
said she never danced with anyone that dances so well as he does. And that was one of the things that he did not let him, that was one of the things he sacrificed. He danced once before Mera at the morning, very early in the 1925, when he was silent. And he was dancing outside after she sang to him. What did she sing? Swanee, how I love you, how I love you. Yeah. So the next day he came very early in the morning and he was dancing outside in the fields, and the sun was shining through his hair, and Mara described that beauty. And then the next time that I know that he danced was with Margaret. So he loved dancing, he loved singing, he loved walking, and all these things he sacrificed in the for us.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you for all of that, Michal. So, Betty, did you say that you had something else to share, or you were just waiting to hear from everybody else?
Oh, I could, yes, I could talk about uh, actually my coming to Baba was partly, it's all about work. I seem to Baba and work for me were very entwined. In fact, I came to Baba through a wonderful little publishing company in Palo Alto where several Baba lovers were including Heather, um, many. It was near Stanford University, and there was a connection. And my connection was a friend named Kathy Wiederhold, who who was a Sufi, and she was a fellow worker. And I remember that she and Silence Day, she was silent. She brought out her pen, and so it became a game to many of us. We all decided, okay, we'll be silent, and we wrote notes to each other, and it was just fun. Um, and through Kathy and the Sullivan Associates was the name of this company, and there several Baba lovers, several good friends came to Baba at this little nucleus of Baba energy. um, and so and publishing, see, somehow there was a Baba connection. I worked for a while with Jay Bonner, who married Shireen, Baba's niece Shireen. But anyways, so if you've worked for people, if they get to know you for that, as Michal's families, they get to expect Silence Day. Oh, this is Betty's Silence Day. Oh, okay, that it's kind of, and sometimes they would tease. I had people who try and get me to talk, or but so it, well, one sort of notable time. I was I've been at this company. I was there for 25 years, so I was one of the elders at the publishing company called Klutz Press. We did a lot of books for children, and Juggling for the Complete Klutz was the first one we did. So people came to expect my Silence Day, and oh wow, that's a beautiful painting, Marcia. Woo.
Thank you.
So I so I was the elder in kind of in this graphics group, and so I'm sorry, I'm a little just discombobulated.
You said that they were expecting you to be
Yeah.
silent.
Yeah, right. So, and the rest of this I was in the graphics department, art, and so there were a lot of young hip artists, who liked me, but I was definitely I was one of the kind of the hippie types, and they were young and hip and designerly, and so anyway, I came into work one day at Silence Day, and over the department, there was a big sign on the art department. It said, "Silence of the Betty." And this was, I don't know if you remember the movie Silence of the Lambs. And they had all gotten these Hannibal Lecter masks.
Oh.
I mean, I think to the lengths they went to pull this off. So, and another one of my older friends was absolutely incensed. She was furious. How could you do this was sacrilegious? How could you make fun of Betty Silence Day? She got very indignant that they would pull this off. So that was one of my more memorable Silence Days. Another time I was working at kind of an army, it was like we made army manuals, tanks. Oh Lord, it was like being in the army. And my coworker was this young, young, he was Dutch, and he was very sort of, and he thought, oh, I remember he just had all kinds of comments to make about hippies who he thought were just foolish. And he was, because I was silent, he had to answer the phone, and man, was he pissed off that he had to step in. And so, yeah, those are a couple of stories. I could think of more, I'm sure. So anyway, those were.
Did you have people whisper back to you or write back to
Yes,
you? And
definitely, definitely. And people thought they had to write, or they had to, yeah, or they had to whisper, or right, definitely. I always, yeah. Isn't it funny? Yeah. I have to say it was a relief to get home. Not have to, be dealing with people. Yeah.
What would they have done without you, Betty? You gave them so many opportunities for fun with your Silence Days. Yeah. It
And it's
almost,
funny how they got to know, they expected it. Then, oh yes, it was like tradition. Oh, okay, this is Betty's Silence Day. All right, we
funny.
that's wonderful. Thank you, Betty. That was lovely. Well, Marcia, your hand is up, and
I want to talk about my first trip to India was in 1994, and I was teaching school, so I didn't get to go till after I was through with the year. And I ended up being in India for Silence Day, and it was 1994. And I was standing in the darshan line with Annie Lovett, and all of a sudden, Mani and all the women Mandalay drove up in this big giant car, and Mani came out and pulled me and Annie out of the darshan line, and we went and distributed flowers all over special places, and I was like on fire, and everybody kept telling me, oh, this is your Baba birthday, and I didn't really understand at that time what that meant. But I got to stand at the cabin where Baba's cot was, and everybody was coming in, and I was just like saw Baba in the sky and everywhere. But talk about observing regular Silence Day. I tried putting a note on me, I'm not talking today, and then I had a notepad. But then the first time I broke my silence was I started talking to my dog. Anyway, other than that, I never forgot that Silence Day. That was for sure. Yeah. Anyway,
that's lovely, Marcia. And we've been looking at your beautiful painting while you've been talking. So it's been.
I'm just showing. These are the last paintings I did when I was in Myrtle Beach, and this was painted, and I called it Rising from the Ashes because I don't know if you can see it. There's a phoenix there down there.
Mm-hmm.
And this was at Land's End, but it's like just I've got this, yeah, it's like they're more, instead of Baba's in them, but they're more looking in the center and looking out at the ocean and just being out in the universe kind of, yeah. Baba.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
It's
Beautiful.
another beauty. Wonderful.
Beautiful. And so are the two before that you showed with the Mandalay women and Baba with all the faces on it. Just amazing.
This one is something like I never do. It just ended up being Baba, and there's Baba right in there with a heart around him. And these are all the planets. Yeah, it's like the cosmos. So I kind of have all kinds of pictures that I painted of Baba realistic, but these are kind of more abstract for me. But they were fun. This one's called Moonbeams, Radiating Love. That's when we were singing the 101 names of God, and then I'd be like doing artwork when everybody was talking. So these are all the pictures from a whole last year in Myrtle Beach. Yeah. Well, anyway,
Okay, that's just lovely. Thank you.
I love the stars.
Yeah. Marcia,
they look fun. All the planets are lined up today, I think, the planets. And the other day I arranged all my stones in a line, and then I read about that. Baba, everything is so synchronized. I mean, he doesn't forget a thing, it's just amazing. Yeah.
Thank you, Marcia.
You're welcome.
We're going to move on to Rosa. Yes, Rosa. Please unmute, Rosa.
I'm just trying to
Whoops, you muted again. Good.
am I on?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So I have one Silence Day story. It must have been early on in my time with Baba, like after my first trip to India. And at this time I lived in Myrtle Beach and I had a massage practice. And I wrote a little note that said, today is the one day of the year when I observe silence. So I won't be speaking, but if you want to speak to me and have any questions or whatever, I'll happily answer by writing something. And the woman read it, she smiled, and her response was to do this. She didn't say anything verbally, she just smiled, and I thought, thanks, Baba, I got the A-OK.
Wonderful.
And this was not somebody who knew anything about Baba. She wasn't in the Baba community.
That was lovely.
Very cute.
Can Betty do sign language song because for Baba, you know, who was doing sign language? Betty?
Oh, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, I should tell you too that I was able to cheat. If anybody I knew was there who knew signs, we could talk. We did sign language and on Silence Day.
Oh,
Yeah,
she?
right. But Baba was doing that all the time because he said, no, I'm taking the burden, but the others don't have to take the burden. So he did communicate with others so others would not suffer from his suffering.
Yeah. Okay, let's do.
I kind of grew up somewhat silent, and actually I really appreciated a quiet kind of environment. So I grew up with sign language, and here's Welcome to My World. Welcome to my world, won't you come on in? Miracles, I guess, still happen now and then. Step into my world, girl.
Heart.
Thank you, Ralph. Leave your cares behind. Welcome to my world, built with you in mind. Knock and the door will open. Seek and you will find. Ask and you will be given the key to this world of mine. I'll be waiting here with my arms unfurled, waiting just for you. Welcome to my world. Hey, Baba.
Okay, lovely.
Thank you. That's a reminder of Baba.
Yeah, excellent.
The one that I did a lot at Maribot. I was kind of shy my first visit, but Mara liked it, and Dunn, Satha, really liked it. We became good friends because I would go over this. I was, don't worry, be happy. Mayor Baba loves us all. Illusions are many, but underneath them all, there's one reality, that you and I are one. And God is love, and love is God, and man and God are one. This is the sign for God, head to heart, and this is Baba's sign, as best I can do for himself, like the thumb up. So it's, but this is God. Okay.
Yay!
Yay!
Thank you.
So Betty, thank you, Betty.
Welcome.
Darling Betty.
Oh, she knows the sign language too. Say something.
Thank you, darling Betty.
That is excellent. Very fine. Well, maybe I'll jump in here. I have a Silence Day story. It doesn't feel like a story, but we call them stories. So, okay. And this was many years ago when I lived in California, and Silence Day would come after the Los Angeles Silence Day Sahavas. And the Los Angeles Silence Day Sahavas, also known as the LA Sahavas, would occur on the weekend closest to July 4th because people would have vacation. So we wanted to make it possible for people to be there for the 3 days. I don't know if it was ever 4 days. It may have been once. It was very long, but it was generally about 3 days. And Betty remembers because she was there all the time. And so one of the speakers, and I don't remember what year it was, I don't remember the speaker, but we were hearing stories, which I'm sure most of you have heard. And the person in the story I don't even remember, but it was about Baba coming to the household of this family and wanting to eat. And it would be maybe 9 in the morning or 10 in the morning. And so he asked for food, and then the food was prepared. He had to wait like 30 minutes for the food to be prepared. And then he left the message that he wanted the food to be ready for him when he came. So they knew, and it was really the woman of the household who knew that Baba was coming, let's say at 9 o'clock. And she had the food ready at 9 o'clock, but Baba came at 8:30 and the food wasn't ready at that time. And so when Baba came next time, he said he would come at 8:30. So the food was ready at 8:30, and you guessed it, it came at 8 o'clock. And Baba was showing her, and I think actually, I guess she had to figure it out, that she had to have the food ready and at the back of her stove in readiness for Baba, should he come. And it became her, I think, lifelong practice to keep food at the back of her stove 24 hours a day, fresh food for Baba, so that it would always be ready for him, no matter when he came. And I took that message to heart that year. And on Silence Day, I decided to make my place ready for Baba. And I'm a person who does not like to clean house, and I don't clean house anywhere near as often as I ought to. But on this Silence Day, I decided to clean house. An apartment, I lived in a very small apartment. And so during this silence, I had this in mind that I was making my place ready for Baba to appear at the door. And I had in mind Baba appearing physically at the door of where I lived. And throughout the day, and I'm not going to say it was, without a break, but pretty much throughout the day, as I cleaned, I dusted, vacuumed, wiped things down, washed, I had in my mind that Baba just might appear at my door at any moment. And I was visualizing that and making it ready. And it was so pleasurable to have that thought and to be doing something that I had absolutely no interest in doing, but did with a great deal of, what's the word? All I can say is there was this sense of I'm making my place ready for Baba. So I was focusing on Baba and his arrival while cleaning. And it was a very, very nice experience. I wish I could be that way every day in everything I do.
Wow, story. Wow, story.
It was really nice.
Diana, that's beautiful. But you and I share the no house cleaning liking.
Dito, yes, Dito.
So
I have a comment about Diane's experience, and that is, I recall when I was younger, too, imagining Bob. At the time, I didn't think about it, but it sort of worked. Then I realized that's what I'm doing. It's more that than seeing Baba or finding Baba as I am mostly, or truly am, or finding Baba as he is in my own existence. And it's hard to realize, but the fact that to me, Diane's venture to clean the house and prepare for Baba, and that she felt gratified and self-sufficient in doing this on her own. And nothing out of the ordinary miraculous happened to accent the situation, except to me that she was gratified, was that Baba was there, that Baba did acknowledge. That's a little, and we like things to be special. We like things to be special. And I'm not good at making things special, but like remembering birthdays or special occasions. But I found that Diane found that fulfilling. Makes me feel that she didn't have some negative response, that Baba did attend with that.
I second that. Yes, I second that.
We don't know. He's unfathomable.
We know. We feel it in our heart.
So, yeah.
She felt it in her heart. Yeah.
So that's my story, and thank you for your comments, Ralph. And I'm wondering if anyone else would like to share anything about a story. Like, we're in the stories thing. I have some readings to share after stories because I think they're so special. I just want them to be present, here. Okay. Anyway, would anyone else like to share a story? Michal.
So not a story, but a description. Because what Marsha shared about being in Mehrabad when it's Silence Day. So I had a chance to be in Mehrabad in Silence Day more than once. And so when Marsha spoke, then it sparked that, and I tried to see myself again there at that time. And actually, I must say that my adventures with Baba on Silence Day in Israel were much more fun and different, and not serious, but we had Baba's humor in them. But in Mehrabad, okay, so in Mehrabad, they opened the Jopti, and I love the Jopti. Oh, Baba, I love the Jopti so much. During the year, it's closed, so it's only open on Silence Day. So because it's closed and because the Samadhi is up the other side, then people, and because now no people are in, I mean, at that time, no people were anymore in the PC because they were residing in the MPR. Not now that they don't even allow Westerners to go down there. But because there was no people there, and it was very quiet. So when I was, needing a peaceful place to just support my heart, and the Samadhi is too busy, and the job and the Baba's Gadi is too busy. So sometimes I would go to the women's door, the west what room was it called, where they did the seclusion. I used to sit by the door, so sometimes it was quiet there, but many times it was very, very peaceful in the Jopti. So I would go down and just sit there by the door when no one was there, and it was so quiet. I mean, he started his silence there, and there was so much peace there. It was just so amazing. The heart would just rest whatever I went through or pain or distress or in quiet, and just sitting there was just a place to heal my heart. It was wonderful. But on Silence Day, it is very busy. So they clean it beforehand and they open the door. Now, this room is so little, you know, that was the first room that Baba had built, they built for him. And it is hardly a place to put your head on one wall and your legs on the other wall if you want to sleep there. So Baba was really cramped there and nothing was in there, maybe only his bedding and maybe even a small table, but that's all. Nothing could go in there. So during Silence Day, when it was open, there was a small table, not table, but small, very low table. And on it, they would put Baba's picture and they would put flowers and roses. And people would be coming into the Jopti and you could sit there on both sides, like in the Samadhi, if you wanted. And people would just come in and bow down and go out and come in and bow down and go out and come in. And so it wasn't the same energy as was when no one was there and the Jopti was closed and people were not in lower Mehrabad, but in upper Mehrabad. And then there was this beautiful, beautiful silence. But this was very, very special, just to go into Baba's Jopti and just sit there if you wanted and put a flower there. And the silence that everyone kept and the peace and the flow of people coming like waves and going and coming and going. So this is a memory of Silence Day in Baba's Jopti, where he started his silence in 10 July 1925. So thank you, Baba. It's a beautiful building, beautiful. It has a wonderful, beautiful banyan tree behind it. And in the early days of Mehrabad, very, very early days, when Nanakir was the Samadhi keeper, and when there would be, and we used to be in the PC, we used to reside in the PC at that time. Then in the morning, when you would go up to the Samadhi for the Arati, the birds, the black birds from the big banyan tree behind Baba's Jopti would fly in a group all the way to the banyan tree right next to the Samadhi. They would come, they would be there for the Arati, and then they would go flying back. And in the evening, again, the whole flock of birds, the blackbirds, a whole flock of birds would come from the tree in the Jopti and fly all the way up to the Samadhi and sit on the banyan tree on the Samadhi, near the Samadhi, and be there on the Arati time. It was just amazing, you know, it was just amazing that the birds would come for the Arati. And later on, in later years, I don't know what happened to those birds. At night, when they would go back to the tree, they would clackle, you know, before they would go to sleep. And there was a whole group of them. But after the years later on, there were no birds there. There were some birds who were on the Samadhi banyan tree. And they would eat the fruit of the banyan, and they would show it on the graves of Baba's parents and Mera's parents and Noni, and it would make a whole mess there. But there were no birds on the bottom, and I never saw that thing. And that happened a few years. But after those years, I never saw that. And I don't know if others saw that, but it was amazing, magical.
Magical. When they were at the Samadhi, Mikal, did they chatter? Wow, wow, wow.
No. During the Arati, they would be quiet.
Wow.
And they would just go and make a noise when they would go together up the hill. And then I don't know when they would go back, because we would go to eat, and I don't know when they would leave the samadhi. But every time they went up to the samadhi for arti, they would make a noise, so you would realize that they're coming, and you would look and you would see them.
Gosh, was
But
this?
when,
Oh,
yeah,
sorry. I'm curious. You were there in the 80s, right? 88. Was that when the?
88,
Yeah, I
88.
was
That
there,
was
and
the first time.
I remember they were so noisy down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And do
yeah.
you remember them flying all the way to
No,
the,
I don't remember that. That's amazing.
because they would make a noise, and I would look up and see them, a whole group of them flying, and in both artis, and not only 1 year, but more than 1 year, a few years, and then they disappeared.
Wow.
Are they blackbirds?
Blackbirds, yeah,
Painted them.
black.
Crow or a grackle, I think.
Like a sort of a crow, but not a crow.
I think it's
And
called a grackle around
they
here.
crackle and crackle. They would crackle and crackle. And when they would go together as a group, they would crackle. So that's how I suddenly would look up and see them. And they were a whole group of them going up there.
Wow. How many would you
They'll
say?
be back. They've probably been.
Oh, tens, more than tens, like they were a whole group. And when they would go to sleep, and they're back into their tree next to the jockey, they would make so much noise, and they would crackle and crackle and crackle until they went to sleep, and and I don't know what happened to them, but that's what was there. They loved to be there, and they loved this journey back and forth.
That's so enchanting. What a great story.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And Michal, and Eva, I was just gonna ask you if it was a good time to hear from Fred, and I hear a few notes right now. Is that why you're raising your hand?
Sure. He was playing Blackbird.
Oh, that's a good song. Play it for
Here, let me put
Fred as an offering.
original set.
love that song, right?
That's not what I'm gonna play for this though, but hello everyone. I was gonna play a little something different than that for Silence Day. First, I actually had a couple of quotes from Ralph Waldo Emerson. It says, "I like the silent church before the service begins better than any preaching." Speaking of silence. And where was the other one? We live in succession, in division, in parts, in particles. Meantime, within man is the soul of the whole, the wise silence, the universal beauty to which every part and particle is equally related, the eternal one. And this deep power in which we exist, and whose beatitude is all accessible to us, is not only self-sufficing and perfect in every hour, but the act of seeing and the thing seen, the seer and the spectacle, the subject and the object are one. We see the world piece by piece as the sun, the moon, the animal, the tree, but the whole of which these are the shining parts is the soul.
Wow, Ralph.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
I love the last.
Perfect. So yeah.
So that's for that. But I was gonna write a song for Silence Day, and tune came to me pretty easily, and I was working on it. A month went by, 6 weeks went by, almost 2 months went by, and the words weren't coming to me. And then suddenly I realized it's Silence Day. Baba was silent, so there are no words.
Wonderful.
Aw.
Thank you, Fred. That was beautiful. So perfect. Wow. Jai Baba. Eva, you look like you were about to say something. No? Please unmute.
I'm sorry, Diana, what was?
Did you want to say something?
Yes, I wanted to read one last a poem, a Silence Day poem. Sorry.
Just read a little louder. Just speak a little louder. We
Understand.
Okay. All right. Silence. Hold on.
I call that the Greek chorus.
That's a good one, Diana.
You have to unmute. You have to unmute, darling.
Silence, a word typically associated with anger or indifference, fear or complicity. Then, beloved, you came and changed the meaning. Rather than avoid, your silence filled me with love. The quiet became a sacred chamber where we meet and enjoy our time together. Your silence enveloped my heart, and I happily returned the embrace. Without distraction, I could truly hear and understand. No need to speak when your voice flows through the many. The love of the eternal is beyond words. Jai Baba.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Amazing. You have to say who wrote it too.
I wrote it.
You wrote it.
Yay. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Fred, I want to tell you, if words should come along, we'd love to hear the words too. And also, I don't. Is it too much? Do you know Blackbird? Could you sing Blackbird?
I know
Right.
I can play the tune part. I haven't really been able to coordinate the tune and the words.
Whatever, you can play it. You can play it without the words because it's Silence Day.
It's appropriate for Silence Day. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I have trouble with that. What was it? Blackbird
Eddie
singing
probably
in the
knows.
dead of the
Eddie
night.
probably knows.
Yeah. Wow, I'm really screwing this up. Yeah. Something like that.
Well, thank you. It was just
you.
that wonderful song. Thank you.
That
Fred.
was beautiful. I could see the birds flying to the samadhi.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should have
Thank
been
you very
playing
much
that
for
when
that,
you were
Fred.
telling your story.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
Oh my God.
Those dogs don't get muted and mine do. Oh, good.
Okay.
He
I wanna
wants
read
to
a
share
poem.
too. He wants to share a song, a dog song.
Oh, Marcia has her hand up. So
I'm gonna read a poem that I wrote. Okay, it's called
Marcia, just for your information, it's upside down.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't, okay, I was not even.
Oh, that's a
Corrector.
good topic.
It's not easy to be silent.
Oh, yeah, show us more of that beautiful picture.
Beautiful, beautiful.
What a whimsy. Wow.
I did this when Theus passed. And
Oh.
these were little animals that he sculpted that I have. And so this is like, you know, I think I wrote something on the back. I'm not sure.
What a dear soul. What a dear soul he was.
Yeah, the 3 days before he passed, he was outside the lagoon cabin. And at that time, Gidget was allowed. And she kept kissing him, and it was so sweet. And then he passed. Anyway, so this wasn't for his memory, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's not easy to be silent. It takes your mind from your mouth and makes you think within, to listen to your inner voice. Hopefully there is a lesson there waiting to ignite a flame to be heard, the silent voice within. I am no longer myself, truth be told. Life is a mystery that unfolds, like wine, aging in the winekeeper's cellar, waiting to be drunk, with love's ecstasy, truth be told. We are accountable to none but thee, God, who is eternally within and without, waiting for each of us, his children, to be set free, to return home to the garden of love, truth, beauty, and ecstasy, free. Jai Baba.
Oh, read it again, Marcia. Can you read it again?
Yes, please read it again.
Sure.
It's beautiful.
It's not easy to be silent. It takes your mind from your mouth and makes you think within, to listen to your inner voice. Hopefully there is a lesson there waiting to ignite a flame to be heard, the silent voice within. I am no longer myself, truth be told. Life is a mystery that unfolds like wine, aging in the winekeeper's cellar, waiting to be drunk with love's ecstasy. Truth be told, we are accountable to none but thee, God, who is eternally within and without, waiting for each of us, his children, to be set free, to return home to the garden of love, truth, beauty, and ecstasy, free.
Wow.
Wow, that's
I have
beautiful.
a couple more if you want to hear more poems. I wrote a lot of poetry. Trying to change the picture.
Okay.
This picture here is the view from the farm shed. And this was in looking at from the farm shed window. And that's the Long Lake. And this is the boathouse. If you never have expectations of anything, you won't be disappointed, because nothing ever happens the way you expect it to. Part of the journey is accepting that you have no control over any situation. Every situation that happens is just because that's the way Baba has deemed it to happen. So remaining detached and aloof from situations is crucial. Our part in the world is to be here for people, to help them through hard times. Having experienced so much in life, you develop empathy for people because you have been in a similar situation. You know how it feels to be that way. The worst thing is that we just can't do anything for the person except being there, because they have to experience these situations themselves. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Well, can you stand one more?
Yeah.
That's a beauty.
Yes. And another.
But your presence brings Baba. The fact that you can't do anything, but Baba does, and your presence brings Baba.
Look at that. The light on the water. Wow.
I tried to catch the water, you know, when you're looking out the library window at Lake Long, and all of a sudden you watch the light hit the water and it flows towards you like little diamonds. It's like, oh my God. Anyway, there is no today, there is no tomorrow, there is only now. Now is the beginning, the end of all time as we know it. The avatar of the age, Meher Baba, has broken his silence by silencing everything. No longer do we have the luxury of denial. All of humanity at this moment in time is in the same boat. Whether we accept it or not is irrelevant. Everything and nothing, all the same. The ship has sailed back to the ocean. We've returned to his sea of infinite love and pray for God's grace to set us free. Illusion, reality, and the dream. Only love will prevail in this new humanity. Jai Baba.
Hey, Baba, that was just so lovely and beautiful painting. Thank you
Well,
so
maybe
much.
somebody else might want to talk now because I
We can come back later and have some more from you, Marcia, but
Sure. Great.
I think that it looks like, does Fred want to play? When you're holding the guitar like that, Fred, it makes me think you want to play something. Do I have that wrong?
He just holds the guitar all the
He
time.
just holds it.
He goes around holding the guitar.
Please play something. Yes, play something.
Sure.
But you're muted.
You're working something out.
Put you on the spot, poor Fred.
He can play it.
So we'll get to watch this again on Silence Day.
Okay,
There
we're
you
muted.
go. Well, I was going to play something more appropriate, but he wants to hear Sea of Love, so. Come with me, my love, through the sea of love. I want to tell you just how much I love you. Do you remember when we met? That's the day I knew you were my pet. I want to tell you just how much I love you. Come with me through the sea of love. Do you remember when we met? That's the day I knew you were my pet. I want to tell you just how much I love you. Come with me through the sea of love. Go with me, my love, to the sea of love. I want to tell you just how much. I need to tell you just how much. I got to tell you just how much I love you.
Yay!
Excellent.
That was
Hey,
great.
everybody, this is the 99th anniversary of Baba's silence in 1922. Next year will be 100 years.
Right.
Wow.
Eva opened the whole program reminding us of that. Definitely. I would like to share something, a couple of readings. I'd like to go back to some readings and then we can come back to some other shares. And I'm just going to read them because they're not very long at all. And this is something I found on the anthology of in avatarmeherbaba.org. And it's a piece by Lynn Ott, and I'm just going to read one part of it. When the mind finally gives up its relentless clamor, then the voice of Meher Baba's silence will ring clear, pealing the avataric hour of glorification. That voice rings now, but the mind is full of noise, deafening the heart. The hour is not yet at hand. Perhaps our minds are like one huge clock that was wound up long ago and is simply running out of its time. But that clock does not tick on forever because now it is set to ring. At Baba's Samadhi, one feels that the clock is set to ring, and when it rings, we shall all awake to meet a new day. In that moment, when I approached Baba and he embraced me and held my face so close to his, at that moment, I could actually hear the sound of Baba's breathing. So mighty was the silence. All I could hear was the long, extended rhythm of Baba's breathing. And this sound amplified for me my own awareness of his fathomless silence. Now that silence is no more. It is gone, that silence from our midst. The illusory silence has given way to the real silence. Jai Baba.
That is beautiful. Who wrote it?
Not because he's telling us that he's heard Baba breathing. And we've seen that image where Baba is showing him his face.
Yeah, wow.
I found that remarkable to have heard Baba breathing.
Wow.
And he said, I'm closer to you than your own breath.
Mm.
It was beautiful, Diana.
Thank you. I have a couple of more, but I see I want to hear from you, Michal, because your hand is up.
Okay, so I want to show some pictures from the Jopti. So I will just, how do you call that?
And share screen.
Yeah, just spotlight. Can I be spotlight?
Oh, do you want me to I can spotlight you.
Yeah.
I'm spotlighting you.
Okay.
There you go.
So now I'll get off here and I will go here. Okay, so we see the Samadhi.
You see
And now I'll show some pictures from the Jopti. So this is the Jopti.
Yeah.
And you see that?
Yes.
And you can see the tree, the banyan tree behind it, right? With where the birds used to flock here, used to sit, where they used to have. So you see how small the Samadhi is. It has a big, huge terrace around. And I mean, not the Samadhi, the Jopti.
Yeah.
In Lower Merabat. So now I'll go to another photo. So here is another photo. This is during Silence Day. Okay, you see people in line going into the Jopti. And usually you would see people also sitting on the here on the terrace around, all around. And of course, right next to it is the table house where Baba wrote his book that is not to be found, where he cramped himself to write the book that has been lost. And this is one of his boards. Yeah. And that he used. Oops, what did I do? And here. So this is how he used the board. This is a beautiful picture of his, how he used the board. And these are the photos that I collected right now. There's some other photos, and you know, what I like very much, you can put me down, not needing to be highlighted anymore. What I like is what was I going to say? Oh yeah, that Baba. Oh, I can't see myself.
I see you.
That Baba is actually with his alphabet board. He was the heralder of our key. How do you call it? Key. Internet key.
The keyboard? The
Keyboard. Yeah, the keyboard. So he was, you know, he was saying, wait, you see what I have in mind for you. I have this in mind for you. So there is this beautiful picture. Let me see if I can put it up too. 1 minute. I have to look for it. Not here, not here, not here, not here. Where did I put it? Here. So, wait. So wait, 1 minute. So you see Baba, well, he's going out of the computer. You don't see the whole picture, but the whole picture is that he's going out of the computer with a on his head, he has a turban, and his right hand at the bottom is typing on the keyboard of it. And there's another fun photo. There is another fun photo. Wait. This is another fun photo.
Just leave that there for a moment. I'm going to spotlight it.
Okay, but it's spotlighted, no?
No, now it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is that you it cuts the photo, so you can't see the bottom, you can't see the keyboard, and it cuts the photo. I'm sorry that it does that, but let's see if this one will come up. 1 moment, because it might cut this one up too. This is one also which is a lot of fun. Here. So you don't see the top ones, but the top ones is LOVE, U, right? It has two more ABC boards like that. And Baba is pointing and saying at the top that you can't see because it's cut, LOVE and Y, U.
Yeah.
Love you. Yeah. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show.
That was fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so are we ready for another quotation? From me, very short. I'd like to read now a short passage from Lord Mayhare, volumes 7 and 8. And of course, it's written by Bao. He writes, during this period, Sadhguru Narayan Maharaj came to a suburb of Bombay to give darshan to his devotees there. Naraman, Arnavas, Nargis, Rhoda, and Bachamai Dadachanji decided to pay their respects to the Sadhguru and went to see him. Inside, they were taken before Narayan Maharaj, who was seated on a chair, surrounded by a group of devotees. Narayan spoke to them in Gujarati, asking where they had come from and various other questions. After some minutes of conversation, Arnavash wanted to see Narayan Maharaj's reaction to or comments about Meher Baba. She broached the topic. You know, Narayan, my paternal uncle Chanji is staying with Meher Baba. Oh, is that so? He remarked. He has been staying with him for the last 20 years in his ashram. Where is his ashram? Ahmednagar. After some moments, Narayan said, they say he does not speak. Yes, that's right, Arnavas answered. Why not? You should know, Narayan. After some moments, Narayan said, you should make him speak. Why don't you make him speak? Arnavas didn't know what to say, so she kept quiet. Narayan then said, make him speak with the intensity of your love.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for this share.
I love that. And, I didn't know that, that Mandali had met some of the other perfect masters, and there we see that. So, I have one other quotation to share, but I certainly want to give others time if they wanted to have any kind of share. Okay, this will be my last share. Oops, I need to go find it. Give me a second. It's coming up someplace. I should have had, oh, there it is. Here we go. And this is actually an excerpt from the universal message. Not the whole message, just an excerpt. Because man has been deaf to the principles and precepts laid down by God in the past, in this present avataric form, I observe silence. You have asked for and been given enough words. It is now time to live them. To get nearer and nearer to God, you have to get further and further away from I, my, and mine. You have not to renounce anything but your own self. It is as simple as that, though found to be almost impossible. It is impossible for you to renounce your limited self by my grace. It is possible for you to renounce your limited self by my grace. I have come to release that grace. I repeat, I lay down no precepts. When I release the tide of truth which I have come to give, men's daily lives will be the living precepts. The words I have not spoken will come to life in them. I veil myself from man by his own curtain of ignorance and manifest my glory to a few. My present avataric form is the last incarnation of this cycle of time, hence my manifestation will be the greatest. When I break my silence, the impact of my love will be universal, and all life in creation will know, feel, and receive of it. It will help every individual to break himself free from his bondage in his own way. I am the divine beloved who loves you more than you can ever love yourself. The breaking of my silence will help you to help yourself in knowing your real self. Jai Baba.
That's a good way to finish, I think.
I feel that is, I feel that's, I feel we've had a really, really nice time sharing in this offering to Baba. And I just want to take this time to thank you all for joining us together for this really beautiful time of remembering Baba and his silence and what it means to us. And I'm opening it to any last comments from anybody.
I would also like to thank everyone for just gathering here in his beautiful love and all the from the heart shares that really touched us all so much. Truly, I think we are all Baba's voices speaking for him. Thank you all.
Well said. Thank you. How about
Thank you. Thank you, Diana, and thank you, Eva, for making this possible, this meeting possible for Silence Day and being hosts of this beautiful love share. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Going to say we should all, if everyone would like to unmute and say the J's. Is that what you were going to say, Diana?
Exactly. That's what I think it's time for. So thank you all for being here, and let's all be sure to be unmuted to say Baba's J. Avatar.
Avatar,
Yeah, Baba, J.
Avatar.
Avatar,
Baba J.
Hey, the
Avatar. Meher Baba
Baki.
J.
J.